Hey everyone, welcome back to the Real Kiz podcast. I'm Annabelle, your host, and this is my co host, Ollie the Octopus. You may have seen him in previous episodes, and I have decided to make him a permanent addition to the podcast. So, since you guys have loved the previous episode where I talked to a lead and got the lead's perspective, we are going to do another one today, but with a slightly different twist. And today's guest, today's lead, is Hamza from Tunisia, who lives and dances in Eindhoven, Netherlands. Welcome, Hamza.
Thank you so much. Hello to you, Annabelle, and to your very nice and cozy co-host. I've been following every episode so far. I'm really happy about this project that is coming up and looking forward to its growth. And I feel very, very honored to be invited and be part of it. I really love the fact that we are having a conversation about dance. I think this is something that was missing and that we just discovered while first meeting each other in a festival.
So, can you tell us about your dance journey and how you started, things that you've encountered, whatever you want to share about the beginning of your dance journey up to where you are right now?
Sure. I started dancing in 2020. I started with Bachata first, and then due to COVID, I couldn't continue the class for almost half a year. Then I picked up again, and soon after, I think maybe in 2021, I discovered Kizomba just by chance. I was sick for a Bachata class, and I was offered replacement class for Kizomba, and I think that may have been the best time of my life to be sick because I soon discovered that I enjoy Kizomba quite a lot. I noticed quite a difference from the start. We were learning to listen to the music. That was what our teacher was saying. And I think I never actually heard that one in Bachata, at least at the beginning. Maybe later for advanced classes, they were saying, okay, let's talk about musicality. There was that fact, and there was also the fact that you can just take it easy, take it slow, and just do the basic and enjoy. That was different approach that I didn't see in other types of classes. There was also a sense of the community in our class, seeing the same people, and the teacher is a little bit funny sometimes, doing some jokes. So it felt more than just teacher-student interaction with just let me show you this pattern. Okay, now you do the pattern. Now let's move on to the next pattern, etc., etc. That is actually one point that I wanted to talk about is how we learn how to dance, how it may seem intuitive in the beginning, just learn by seeing, but actually quite it is not the case. This is something that you discover later on, that there is a big gap between classes, workshops, and dance floor, socials, events, things like that.
What do you mean by the big gap?
Okay, so I divide it into two parts. One part is you see something in class, a pattern, a move, and then you just repeat it. And when I say repeat it, then I mean you memorize it as a leader, or you kind of visualize it. You focus on what was the step, and then you are just trying to reproduce what we saw without thinking about leading and following. What should the lead be? What should the following cue be? That is not often discussed enough in many experiences of workshops or places, and that part is left to be figured out once you go to the social and you try the same move and then it doesn't work, and then you find out, hey, why isn't it this working? And that can bring a lot of frustration and a lot of confusion coming back to class and then seeing, hey, it is working in class, so what's happening here? As a beginner, of course,
the follows are backleading. Yeah, the follows are backleading it in class. That's why it's working, because the follows know what they need to do. But on the social dance floor, you're right. They're not, but the follows are not anticipating this move, so they're not trying to backlead it. And if you don't know how to set up the move properly, then they're not going to follow it.
Unfortunately, it took quite a few years for me to discover like this one of these secrets of the dance that you don't know in the beginning because you are so maybe focused on other things and because the way of teaching is more on okay, this is the move, reproduce the move. Now, because I'm still helping for a beginner class from time to time, I get to see and observe what you just said. The followers are literally just executing the steps. And since I'm helping sometimes and I know how it works, then I ask, did you feel any lead? How did you get to that position, or how did you make that step? Where did that come from? And then some of that discussion, I think, is missing in learning how to dance in general. And I find it quite funny or quite interesting that this is the only hobby that I could think of that you have two adults, male, female, or whatever, cooperating together to do something really complex, but they cannot really talk to each other for some reason because it's awkward to stop a class or to confront someone. So what people do is just like have that awkward moment if that doesn't work in class and just move on, switch partner, and then that keeps going on for months and years until one day you discover the technique behind that there is lead and following, and then you're like, wow, oh my God, all what I knew was wrong. So, uh,
Yeah, and sometimes as a follow, on the very rare occasion that I go to a workshop and the lead does the move, and
mhm.
if I don't think it's correct or if I don't feel it or if it doesn't feel right, I will tell him. And then the lead gets so offended and blames me, the follow, saying that I'm the one doing it wrong, which is another reason I stopped going to workshops because the follow will get blamed. It's like, no, you're just not doing it right. Like it's your fault.
Indeed, this happens quite a lot. Unfortunately, you go to festivals and you would expect people already went through this, but no, there is a lot of blaming each other for some reason, maybe insecurities or whatsoever. And when you try to start the discussion, sometimes it doesn't go smooth at all, or you might regret, why did I even bring this up? And I think because of this reason, a lot of people just prefer to stay silent, not bring it up, and just move on, and prefer to not get a negative interaction because that might ruin their workshop experience or lesson experience. So I noticed that most people just do it silently, repeat the steps that they saw, but then in the end, nobody is benefiting. With that said, it is true that if you receive a harsh feedback, that might really make you doubt if this is the dance for you, especially as a beginner. Maybe as someone with some experience, some background, you can take it or you can just like put it aside. But as a beginner, imagine someone new to this journey, hobby,
Mm.
community, and they get like spam.
No, I actually disagree. I
Mhm.
think I would rather give feedback to beginners because beginners know what they don't know. So I feel like they're much more open to feedback and they're much more humble about it. But the classes that I mentioned before, these are advanced festival classes. These dancers are not beginners. These dancers think they are advanced, which is why they think they belong in this advanced workshop. But they're clearly not because they cannot execute this move and they do not have the foundations for this move. So they're intermediate, maybe at best, but with an ego 5 times the size, which is why when I tell them that didn't feel right, and no, I don't think you're doing this right, and no, I don't think this is how it's supposed to be, they blame the follow because it can't possibly be them. They're not beginner dancers, they're advanced. That's why they're in this workshop.
Okay, I agree with the point that feedback is useful, and I think you should do it definitely. And I started to do it as well from leading perspective on my side, but also from follower perspective, since sometimes I do experience the follow experience in the class because sometimes I help as a follow, but I cannot claim that I understand everything that goes for a follow since it's just limited experience. That being said, I totally recognize what you say about there are so many reactions that you wouldn't expect from someone that has a lot of experience in the dance community. Maybe someone that is new or something like that, maybe, but at some point you don't expect someone to just go into blaming and attacking. And I have experienced the same from followers who literally told me, I am advanced. What is your level? As if that would
Wow,
help to
ego,
solve.
ego.
That would help to solve anything. What does it help? Like just shouting, I am advanced in a workshop? Yeah, so it's
Yes,
on it's on both sides. I have to say
yes,
it's on both
egos
sides.
on both sides for sure. I agree.
But it is true that if people are just starting, they don't know anything and then they are just happy to get the feedback. If it is said in a nice and supportive way, which I believe it's not so hard. It's really like,
Mm.
hey, maybe let's try this one again. It's just like a couple of sentences. But yeah, I don't get it. I don't know how and why this happens. I also got blamed as a follower, by the way, in some of the classes. That was really funny. And then I was like, whoa, I didn't expect this at all. I thought it was just one way. It's both ways.
Yeah. Okay, so let's shift from the classes. You already mentioned going social dancing. How long
Mhm.
did it take you to go out and start social dancing and going to festivals after you started learning?
For the first social, I think it was a few months. But for the first festival event, it was 1 to 1.5 years. And it was still locally around the city, suburbs, things like that. And eventually, maybe after 2 years, going to some festival that was quite far away, different country, something like that. And I have to say, it's quite intimidating to just jump into a festival from class with not knowing what to expect and quite humbling as well because yeah, as you said, a beginner does not know what he doesn't know. He just goes there, thinks things will work. But yeah, this is one part that is also harsh, is that sometimes a dance can be cut short very early on, maybe 30 seconds or less, just because, I don't know, maybe the level was assessed not good enough or something like that. You don't really get a reason, of course, but sometimes you get eye rolls or you get some reactions that may give you an indication that your leading is not good enough for this event or this social. And I think in the beginning, leaders have it quite harsh. Of course, there are thankfully some supportive followers that dance with everyone, don't make distinctions on dance levels, sort of, and that helps to keep going and keep trying. But yeah, I heard this one from other leaders as well. The beginnings can be harsh, and in the beginning, the class is the safest place to go to. Some.
Okay, well, that's kind of sad. Did you have any male dance friends, role models, people like other leads who helped you along the way?
So I am quite lucky that I started dancing at the same time with my friend Basilio. So we would talk about these topics sometimes, but I don't feel that leads have this thing where they talk to each other in general. So luckily we were friends before starting dancing, and then we would sometimes talk about it. Overall, I don't think the experience of going to learn how to dance and to go dance is like a shared or discussed experience. I feel it's like a very silent individual experience. You just go there, maybe it is a nice social for you, but it's your individual experience. Someone else might go and won't enjoy it, and then at the end the party ends and everybody goes to their beds. Yeah, something like that. Luckily, when going to festivals and meeting with people around dinner time, that was kind of the first times to start bigger table discussion. That was when I met you in Malaga. I still remember. That was really by chance, but I really loved those talks, and that's why I really like this initiative of this podcast to talk about some dance topics that might be useful for everybody and might share some of the struggles, the things like that.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite things is either at dinner or breakfast, you recap with your friends and share your experience and hear about their experience and compare notes. And yeah, it's really fun.
So this is my theory. It's just based on personal experience. I said earlier that leader have it harsh in the beginning because followers kind of get to dance with a lot of levels almost immediately. They just go to a social and get invited, right? So they can be invited by someone that is more or less experienced. They get to see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I feel, yeah, it's just thinking that then they can see the difference between somewhat good leader and the beginner, and they might go and prefer the more experienced leader, and then the beginner is rejected quickly or from the start or after one song whatsoever. But at some point, the few leaders that get to an advanced level or experience enough level, then they start to bring back kind of a revenge thing, and they start to do the behaviors that you discussed, of being high ego, rejecting dances, maybe making faces. So I think it's like circle feeding, some kind of a feedback loop.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it can come full circle for sure. And I like that you use the word revenge. It's like the leader who used to suck and nobody would dance with him. Now he's really good, and now he's not dancing with all the mean follows who didn't dance with him when he was a beginner. So, ladies, keep that in mind. Yeah, that beginner who you don't want to dance with right now, in a couple of years, he might become very, very good, and everyone is going to want to dance with him, including you, and he's not going to want to dance with you. So, be nice to everyone.
The thing is, when leaders start to get confident, they might start to treat everybody the same. And that's also bad because beginner followers, they just started and they get that treatment as well. And that's not nice. So it feeds into each other. Yeah.
What do you mean, treat everybody the same?
Yeah. So being harsh or being blaming, these kinds of making you feel uncomfortable in the dance just because your level is not there. So when someone gets to that level, they think they reached everything. Then
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if they're gonna dance with someone that is new, they're not be able to follow everything they do, and then they might also make comments or do that kind of behavior. And so it's kind of revenge, but everybody will
Suffer from it.
suffer from it. Exactly. It's not just to those mean followers that have been mean to him. So that kind of generates toxicity in the dance. This is one of the points I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Well, say more. What
Yeah.
else do you think generates toxicity in the dance scene aside from leads who have now become very good but still have trauma from the days where they were abused by follows and are
Yeah.
now taking it out on all the follows?
Okay. So hear me out. I have a theory.
Okay.
Since the beginning for leads is quite harsh, there are certain profiles that will be pushed away. Profiles that are, let's say, more or less not so high self-esteem, not so confident. They will feel like, why am I doing this? I am getting such bad treatment and I'm just starting. Then they might just leave the dance community and say, hey, I didn't sign up for a hobby just to get like such treatment. Then what kind of profiles are selected from leader side? Either they have super high self-confidence that they don't get affected of whatever comments they get. Even sometimes the comments might be legitimate that their dancing is not that good, but they wouldn't hear it anyway. They wouldn't be affected by it. And then they just stay in the scene because, yeah, they think they got it, whatever. And the other profile is that is there not for the dance. Then it doesn't matter. It's like a numbers game. They are like, okay, let me just come here and search for something other than the dance, maybe a hookup whatsoever, and they will keep coming. They don't get phased out because, yeah. And those profiles will be there for the followers to experience, right? So then followers will also kind of have to take that experience in and they will be impacted by it. They will have negative experiences and then they might also shift their behavior and be more picky, be, yeah, more defensive, something like that, and that might channel back to leaders that have nothing to do with the first two categories, and they can get it. That's what I mean when I say toxicity is like channeling back and forth, and it is kind of natural selection for who stays in the community. But yeah, just a theory.
Okay, what is the other category? So the two categories that you mentioned were the super confident men who, don't care about rejection,
Yeah,
and the men who just want to hook up.
yeah.
And is there is there another?
Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, yes.
Well, which category are you in?
Exactly. So people who are patient enough or who can deal with rejection in the beginning and uh, kind of put it on the side for some time and just keep learning. Yeah, keep humble. It's also there in the scene. There are also people that are quite normal people, but I feel that they need to really like the dance. They really need to like the music to have a factor to pull them in. Because you will have push factors and pull factors. You need something strong to keep you there, and if you are passionate about the dance, obviously you will stay regardless, whatever bad teacher, bad dance, bad experience. So I believe that's the other category that is still there, and that's the one that can help each other and help the newcomers to feel more comfortable, more at ease, and kind of help the toxicity to improve for future generations.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have great responsibility on our heads, kind of. That's my feeling. Because we contribute to how the community will be shaped as well.
Okay, so what are some of the things we can do to help heal the community and shape it to evolve in a healthier way?
Good one. So I think number one is dance with everybody, regardless of experience, age, anything. It's just like, and especially maybe dance with people that you have not danced before, because that might be the new ones. Maybe the ones that you danced before already went through it and they don't need that support as much. And yeah, number two thing to do is just be nice to people on the dance floor. I don't think it's that hard, but yeah, it's like just simple things, attitude, making someone feel comfortable. Yeah, maybe sometimes a dance can start a little bit rough or something, but this is Kizomba, we have time. There is more songs. Let's try to connect, especially if it's a beginner. Let's give them some time there and try to help them feel comfortable and relax. Take it easy. It's not a competition or whatsoever.
Okay, I feel like women are often being told to make the men comfortable,
Hmm.
but what about when they make us uncomfortable?
Fair enough. Definitely, if you feel unsafe or if you feel uncomfortable in a way, then that is definitely grounds for stopping the dance directly. With that said, with great power come great responsibility. If you feel it was something that was not intentional, you can mention something about it. If you feel it's a beginner that is making a mistake whatsoever, maybe that will help him understand not to same mistake or whatever he did that made you feel unsafe, something like that. If you feel you don't need to justify anything and that was something intentional, then of course, yeah, no need to start a discussion there. And you can actually report if you feel some behavior was not okay at all, of course.
Yeah, I don't think that unsolicited feedback is welcome in most cases. I feel like it's always a good idea to ask if someone is open to feedback because sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And also, I feel like women oftentimes don't feel safe giving feedback because they don't want the man to lash out at them, which has happened before. So, yes, we would much rather just end the dance quickly, walk away, and then avoid you for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, I can totally understand where this comes from. With that being said, yeah, in those cases, there is really not much to be done, but hopefully that behavior does not translate to other people who were just starting in their dance journey and let's say it does not translate to the next dance. Let me say it that way. Like bad experience, okay,
Yeah,
throw it away.
yes.
It doesn't land into generalization of all leaders do this, all leaders have these bad behaviors. Then that might hurt some innocent ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't take it out on the next person for sure.
Exact.
Also, I feel like as a follow, we can usually tell when someone is a beginner and they're genuinely struggling versus someone who is drunk, high, or they just don't care to dance correctly or properly, and they are not a beginner. And I'm all about having empathy and patience for beginners, but for everyone else I mentioned, I don't think they deserve our patience or empathy.
100%. For some cases, I don't think they deserve to be on the dance floor at all. Like, that's a threat to the dance community, threat to people's safety. Absolutely. There should be some responsibility on the organizers as well to make it safe in that way. I believe so.
Yeah, I think that there should always be someone like a designated party that everyone is aware of that attendees can go to report incidents like that. Also, if someone is just really rude to you, I feel 100% that they should be reported for being a dick. Like, being a dick is an offense that deserves getting kicked out for. It is not okay to be a dick to anyone at a dance
Definitely.
event.
Definitely. And it should not be tolerated. Yeah, it should not be rewarded with a dance in that case. I have a funny story actually. I was recently in a workshop, quite famous couple, and the level there was expected to be of certain experience. It's not a beginner's workshop. And then, to the surprise of everybody, one of the leaders just shouted when the instructors asked, "Are there any questions?" One of the leaders just shouted, "I think you should tell the women what to do because they are not doing it." That was really loud, and I felt it was like someone is clearly joking. Maybe it's an inside joke, maybe they don't know. No, it was someone's real opinion. Usually, the cases that you talk about, they stay silent, I think, and they do whatever bad behaviors they do on the dance floor, and you don't see it. But this was the first time for me to see it, and I was in shock. I was like, what? And then the person repeated it. They were serious, definitely. And the instructors handled it in a very smart way, I think, just like to shut down whatever was happening there and to explain that as a leader you should be able to dance with everybody, and this is not a way to learn.
I mean, sure, there are instances where a follow can make a lead feel uncomfortable, or like a woman
Mm-hmm.
can make a man feel uncomfortable on the dance floor. And I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
it happens, especially if the woman is intoxicated or feeling frisky, whatever. I'm sure women do things that make men feel uncomfortable on the dance floor. But I think it happens way more often that it is men who intentionally or unintentionally make the woman feel uncomfortable. Because when women make men feel uncomfortable, most of the time, like, we know what we're doing. So I think men know what they're doing.
Can I say something that later on I observed in this event? I was expecting this leader that did this behavior during the workshop not to get any dance after it. He was getting dances. How? I don't understand. So there is like,
Because,
yeah.
yeah, women love assholes. It's a sad, sad fact, but for some reason, and not all women, obviously, but some women are attracted to arrogant, narcissistic asshole men. They're like the pick me women. They want to be picked by these men, and they want to be treated differently by these men because they feel like that is what makes them special.
I really have a hard time, but yeah, if you say so, this is one way this behavior is tolerated and encouraged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
So
Because that's why it persists. If it wasn't tolerated and if it wasn't encouraged, it would be annihilated. It would go extinct. Like you said, survival of the fittest.
exactly.
It would be made to go extinct. But clearly it gets rewarded enough times that it persists.
So yeah, in those cases, as a follower, I would not dance with that person, and I think that person should not be in the dance community.
Maybe he
So
was a
then,
beginner.
or in this case, I wouldn't say so. In this case, I am sad for the followers that don't know about this person and they just dance with them and get that experience.
Okay, well, since we seem to be on the topic of toxicity in the dance scene,
Yes,
is there anything else that we need to mention, or anyone
definitely,
else that we need to
definitely,
mention?
definitely. Definitely. Two things in my mind: attitude when starting the dance and when finishing the dance. Besides the extreme cases, I've seen on both sides. If someone, and I experienced myself, if someone doesn't want to dance, I would rather they don't dance with me than go in with the dance and already I'm feeling bad energy from the start. Why? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think that's not really a nice thing to do. That can ruin somebody's social or day or whatever. Yeah. And I saw something that is nice on the other side that you mentioned in your previous episode because I do follow, which is saying thank you for the dance. Such a nice gesture, and also mentioning what you appreciated in the dance, if you appreciate it, of course. And from leader side, we get this thought in some workshops sometimes to ask in a nice way. I do notice from also following your episodes that it changes the mood from the start and it can set a nice energy for the dance. So I also hear some followers sometimes complain that they just ask for the dance, they dare to ask, right? And then they get some face or whatsoever from the leader. So yeah, these things, I think they can help the dance experience for everyone and hopefully, yeah, encourage better behaviors.
So I think the main points are, be nice, be kind, dance with everyone. If you
Yeah.
don't want to dance, just say no nicely, but don't dance and then not enjoy the dance because that makes the other person not enjoy the dance.
Yes. And if you want to end the dance as well, it's totally fine to say thank you and leave instead of doing it in a different way.
What do you mean?
Yeah, there was this one time I was asking a follower to dance. We had maybe like 30 seconds or whatsoever from starting. And then she was about to sneeze, and I gave her space to sneeze. Then it was like second sneeze, third sneeze. Then she told me like one moment and she left the dance floor. I just waited there, held the space for her to come back, right? I just assumed, okay, it can happen. Totally normal situation. Nice of her
Uh-huh.
to sneeze away and to come back. Then I saw her coming back and I held my hand. Let's continue where we stopped, kind of, or at the very beginning, right? 30 seconds, 1 minute. And then I saw her holding some other leader's hand and going to dance. And she saw me, she realized that was a really funny moment. I can only laugh at it, right? I cannot take it in any other way.
Yeah, but that's not cool. That is not cool. No, that's just rude.
Yeah,
It's rude.
but I can maybe understand this might be a reaction for previous behaviors that were harsh after stopping a dance. I hear this also. This happens. You ask to stop a dance and then you get a harsh comment or a harsh treatment.
No, I don't know. I don't think I've ever gotten a harsh treatment for stopping a dance.
Okay.
I mean, maybe she was allergic to your cologne or laundry detergent or something. Sometimes when I dance with a lead who has a lot of cologne on, I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And then that dance will be short because I literally can't breathe.
Okay, fair enough. That might be an
But I will
explanation.
still end the dance. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
just gonna walk off and then walk back on with someone else
yeah,
immediately.
yeah,
Well, things that we need to keep in mind.
definitely. I also want to give a positive example. Let's switch it up a bit. I did meet someone from the dance scene who was very smiling and enjoying the music, enjoying the dance regardless of the level. And that is such a nice, positive thing to do. Gives a lot of energy and encouragement for all people just starting or maybe not on their best day, making mistakes whatsoever, because it can happen to anyone. And yeah, we suggested to that friend to actually give some kind of class or workshop on this, on how to support. But yeah, fair enough if you already say this message is already there
What do you mean, what message?
of starting to dance, making someone comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to start the dance in a positive way, enjoy the dance, and then end the dance in a positive way. So it's just an overall positive experience for everyone involved.
Yeah, sounds.
Okay. Well, I don't think it's hard.
I don't think either.
Yeah, it's not hard. Come on, guys. We can do better.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share? with the dance community about your experience as a lead? Anything that you want the follows to know? Any top secret information?
I would give this message to everyone who is listening, not just follows. It starts during the class by asking more about followers' role. This is also a message that is lacking sometimes, and you can feel the difference when a class has both follower instructor and leader instructor giving the perspective, and the class that only has the lead perspective, right? Then what is the follower supposed to do there? Just be assistant to the leader student while paying the same amount, or yeah. So I do think teachers should be challenged more in general by asking questions, figuring things out. And I also think it is a nice experience to try reverse roles. I think this will bring a little bit of more understanding,
Mhm.
follower perspective and leader perspective. I mentioned earlier about there is a gap between dance class and dance floor. So
Mhm.
one of the gaps is the technical gap of I don't know how this move works. And I get that because I was just doing the step by memory, not understanding the technique. But there are also other gaps that translate, which come from what is the follower's perspective on this move. If it's not stated in the class, what should the follower feel? How should the follower feel? Yeah, you can do the same move. You can make the follower feel super uncomfortable while doing the move, or make her lose the balance whatsoever. Some people out there on the dance floor can look like it is a nice dance, but how does it feel? This is also something that makes me think about perspective of a dance. What should a nice dance be? Is it by how it looks or by how it feels? This is also a message that you don't get to discover quite early, unfortunately. And I think reversing the roles would allow leaders to experience what it is like to get the lead and to see, oh my God, my lead was actually non-existent, or it was not clear enough, or it was super uncomfortable. Things like that on the lead side that I was lucky to discover, because in one class I was too bored to be too many leaders in the class, and I said, okay, I will just do the follower role to get to see the other perspective. Yeah, and from follower side, I think it might bring some perspective, because sometimes leading might look easy, or I don't know, might look different, and then they can see that there are also other struggles for the leads. I think one of the main struggles for leads in the beginning is just my follower is going to get bored. I'm doing the same move again and again, or the same 3, 4 moves, because
Mhm.
we start visually, and then visually we look at it, oh, it's the same. But if you think about it from feeling perspective, and after doing few follower experiences, oh, I can't tell at all. You can also mention, can you tell? Can you memorize what the what the leader is doing in a 16-24 count and realize he's doing similar things? I don't know. At least for me, I can't. And that made me realize, okay, then maybe it's not the vocabulary that would make the dance nicer necessarily, right?
Absolutely. Very good points. Thank you for sharing. And I love that you're trying to follow and learning the follows role and getting the follows perspective and getting all these realizations. I think more leads should definitely try that so that they also have these realizations. And I think it would make them much better leads.
And I also discovered it's fun. It's not just like learning perspective or something like that. I actually like to follow. And recently on a festival, I was asked by a lady leader to follow her. And I was like, whoa, this is so nice. I don't know how, why, but I just accepted it. Like, yes, please.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, following is fun. I love
It
it.
is different, of course, different kind of, let me say it in this way. Leading requires like planning and thinking about what's next, thinking about the weight shifting. But when you do following, you think about other things. What am I feeling? It's not something that we think about when we are leaders that much. And I think that's also something nice. And I find it relaxing sometimes. Well, not to say that you should be too relaxed as a follower, but I like it. In a way, I like.
Yeah, following is, it can be very relaxing for sure. Nice. Good. Can you tell everyone how they can follow you on socials, get in touch with you, find out what festival you're going to be at next, dance with you?
For my socials, It's going to be just my name and last name. I don't have like any dance account whatsoever. If someone wants to connect, maybe can share it afterwards on the episode or something like that. It's a lot of letters, so I guess I'll
We
just
will
write it.
put it in the show notes. It'll be in the show notes.
Exactly. Coming festival, it might be the Movement Festival in Budapest.
Okay, I'm planning on going to that one.
Cool. Nice discovery. Let's dance there.
Yeah, but it's so far away. It's not until May.
True. But before that, no big festivals planned, but maybe some parties, boot camps. There is a boot camp by Jack and Sarah in March in Germany, close to you, I guess.
Yeah, I just saw that today.
Yes. So I look forward to be there for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
If you have any suggestions for January, February, I have not decided yet.
Okay, well, all the listeners, you guys can send Hamza a message and let him know where he should go in January and February. Well,
Nice.
thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing. And thanks for just being a great human in this dance community. And we're so lucky to have you.
Well, thank you so much for hosting and for all this initiative altogether. It was really a pleasure to be part of this, and I hope this helps anyone.
I'm sure it will. All right, peeps. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening. Give us a follow on the socials. Subscribe to the podcast. Bye.